Good morning students, I welcome you all for the online class of business studies. Today we will be going to learn the functions of stock exchange and secondary market. When we go with the stock exchange, we have already learned where the shares of the companies are bought and sold. That particular place are known as stock exchange market. Shares itself is known as the stocks. The very first economic functions of stock exchange, when we go, it is economic barometer. When we go with the economic barometer, it states that when our economy, which is measured, for that stock exchange also plays a very important role, as it helps us to know or determine what is the economic position of our country. So it can be considered as an economic barometer by which we can measure the economic development and progress of our country from time to time. So stock exchange is a reliable barometer to measure the economic condition of a country. Every major change in country and economy is reflected in the prices of shares. The rise or fall in the share price indicate the boom or recession cycle of the economy. Stock exchange is also known as a pulse of economy, of economic mirror, which reflects the economic conditions of a country. Pricing of securities, when we see, the stock market helps to value the securities on the basis of demand and supply factors. The securities of profitable and growth oriented companies are valued higher as there is more demand for such securities. The valuation of securities is useful for investors, government and creditors. The investors can know the value of their investment, the creditors can value the creditworthiness, and government can impose tax on value of securities. So that is pricing of securities, student. The stock market helps us to value the securities on the basis of demand and supply factors. So they help us to mark our value of the stocks. Safety of transactions, when we see in stock market, only the listed securities are traded and stock exchange authorities include the company's names in the trade list only after verifying the soundness of the company. The company which are listed, they also have to operate within the strict rules and regulations. This ensures safety of dealing through stock exchange. So that is safety of transaction, student. So stock market also helps to list the securities and traded which are traded, and stock exchange authorities include the company's name in the trade list only after verifying the soundness of the company, whether they are. So that is from the safety of the transactions point, that company which are listed, they also have to operate within the strict rules and regulations, and they must ensure the safety of dealing through stock exchange market. Next is contribute to economic growth. Definitely stock exchange also help us to make the contribution toward the economic development, because stock exchange securities of companies are listed, bought and sold. This process of disinvestment and reinvestment help us to know the economic contribution of the industries towards our economic progress. As how much the investment has been done, how much disinvestment has been done. This will lead to capital formation or not. Excess of capital is there. That all the points we can come to know from the stock exchange market. So it helps to contribute to the economic growth of our country. Spreading of equity cult. Stock exchange not only does the promotion sales of the stocks, but also helps to promote the equity shares information regarding of the companies. They help us to know how much is the importance of the equity shares, so that people can prefer equity shares, as it is very important that has equity shares as a permanent source of capital formation. So stock exchange encourages people to invest in ownership security, especially in equity shares, because as much the equity share number will be there, that much will be the creditworthiness of the company. So companies also want that people must invest more and more in the form of equity shares. So that is done by the stock exchange market. So it is not only that it is doing buying and selling of the shares, but also it promotes the equity shares among the traders, so that they will have a development of habits, better trading practices, and educating public about the investments. Providing scope for speculation, when we see, students, to ensure liquidity and demand of supply of securities, the stock exchange permits healthy speculations of securities. Definitely they may help us the companies to make the shares to be converted into liquidity form easily. Liquidity, when we see, students, the main function of stock market is to provide ready market for sale and purchase of securities. The presence of stock exchange market gives assurance to investors that their investment can be converted into cash whenever they want. The investor can invest in long-term investment projects without any hesitation, as because of stock exchange they can convert long-term investment into short-term and medium-term. So that is the liquidity point, students. So the main function of stock market is to provide ready market for sale and purchase of securities. The presence of stock exchange market gives assurance to investors that their investment can be converted into cash whenever they want. So that is the benefit of having the stock market. Next is better allocation of capital. When we go with the better allocation liquidity, here there is a point. The presence of stock exchange market gives assurance to investor that the investment can be converted into cash. As there is a option that if there is the need of cash by the shareholder, they can sell off some of the shares or the whole shares into the stock market and can get converted the stocks into the form of cash. So that is the particular point. The investor can invest in long-term investment projects without any hesitations, we have learned, because stock exchange that can convert long-term investment into short and medium-term investment. So that is a very good point about the stock exchange markets. Better allocation of capital we are going to learn. The shares of profit-making companies are quoted at higher prices and are actively traded. So such companies can easily raise fresh capital from stock markets. So there do the better allocation of capital. The general public hesitates to invest in securities of loss-making companies. So stock exchange facilitates allocations of investors' funds to profitable channels. So that is better allocation of capital can be done by the stock markets. Promote the habits of savings and investments. The stock market offers attractive opportunities of investment in various securities. These attractive opportunities encourage people to save more and invest in securities of corporate sector rather than investing in unproductive assets such as gold, silver, etc. So they help to promote the habit of savings and investment among the peoples, so that more and more people will be getting interested in the stock market. So that is also the habit of stock or you can say function of stock exchange. Now the stock exchange functions has been completed. Once again I want to recall the main points of stock exchange. So let us have a particular synopsis. Here it is a synopsis what we have learned. Functions of stock exchange when we see, very first function is economic barometer. Second, pricing of securities is done by stock markets. Because of that ups and downs we can see there. Safety of transactions is there. Contributes to economic growth of the company. Spread the equity curve. Provides scope for speculations. Do the liquidity. Third, better allocation of capital. And the last, promote the habit of savings and investment. So let us complete these particular functions, and now we will be promoting to the next part of the particular topic of our class, that is trading procedure on a stock exchange. As that day I already explained to you that I will be taking the stock exchange trading process also. Before selling the securities to stock exchange, the companies have to get their securities listed in the stock exchange market. The name of the company is included in listed securities only when stock exchange authorities are satisfied with the financial soundness and other aspects of the company. Previously, the buying and selling of securities was done in trading floor of stock exchange. Today, it is executed through computer and it involves the following steps. Trading procedure on the stock exchange are as follows. You can see there the trading procedures. So before selling the security, stock exchange does some activities. Let us see the activities. Before the selection of broker, student, the very first step which is given here, you can see here selection of broker is given. But before doing the work of selection of broker, company have to do the very first, that is they have to list their names in the stock exchange, so that the company after getting listed they will get the permission that they can sell off the shares in the stock exchange market. The name of the company is included in the listed of stock exchange authorities, and they are satisfied with the financial soundness of the company, then only they will list the name of the company in the stock market. After the process of listing has been done, then you can do the selection of brokers. So selection of broker says the buying and selling of securities can only be done through SEBI registered brokers only who are members of the stock exchange. The broker can be an individual, partnership, firms or corporate bodies. So the first step to select the broker who will buy and sell securities on behalf of the investor or speculators. So selection of broker is done. So the buying and selling of securities can only be done through SEBI registered brokers who are members of the stock exchange. Opening demat account with depository. When we see opening demat account with depository, that is dematerialized account, it refers to an account which an Indian citizen must open with the depository participant, banks or stockbrokers, to trade in listed securities in electronic form. Second step in trading procedure is to open a demat account. Okay, demat account is generally opened by the depository, that is the banks or the brokers. This is a general account which by which we can do an online transactions of our securities. The securities are held in the electronic form by a depository. I said depository can be a banks or stock brokers. Depository is an institution or an organization which holds securities, example shares, debentures, bonds. That is the name of securities, not the depository. That is the bonds, mutual funds, etc. At present in India there are two depositories, one is NSDL and one is CDSL. Okay, when we go with the NSDL, that is National Securities Depository Limited, and the second is the Central Depository Services Limited. There is no direct contact between the depository and investors because there in between some mediators are there, that is the brokers, underwriters. Depository interacts with investors through depository participants, that I said the underwriters and the brokers, they are the participants. Okay, so these depository participants are mediators between the depository, that is the banks, and the investor, that is the person who want to do investment. This participant helps the investor to know the very profitable investment, so that they can make the choice of doing investment in which projects. And depository, it interacts with the depository also, so that they can make the finalization of the shares and debentures. Depository participant will maintain securities account balance of investor and intimate the investor about the status of the holding from time to time, so that investment can be known by the peoples. Okay, so they will be knowing what the changes are there. Next comes students placing the order. When we go with the placing the order, after opening the demat account, the investor can place the order. The order can be placed to the broker, either DP, depository participant, personally or through phone, emails, etc. Investor must place the order very clearly, specifying the range of prices at which securities can be bought and sold. Example, buy 100 equity shares of Reliance for not more than 500 rupees per share. Executing the order, when we see student has bought the instructions of the investor, the broker execute the order, that is he buys or sells the securities. Broker prepares a contract note for the order executed. The contract note contains the name and price of the securities, name of parties, and a brokerage commission charged by him. Contract note is signed by the brokers itself. So that is executing the order, student, as per the instructions of the investors. The broker executes the order, that is he buys or sells the securities. Broker prepares a contract note for the order executed and everything. So the contract note contains the name and prices of securities, names of parties, and brokerage also, so that people will be knowing how much is the amount they have to pay. So that is executing the order which is made by the brokers itself. It is not done by the depository. Finally, it goes with the depository only. Settlements. When we go with the settlements, executing, you can see there. After placing the order, execution is done of the securities, and the broker prepares a contract note for the order executed. The contract note contains the name and price of securities, name of parties and brokerage, commission charged by him, contract note signed by the brokers. Next comes depository part. Here one point is missing, settlements page is missing there. No issue, I will be explaining to you. When we go with the settlement, students, settlement, the next step of stock exchange is to do settlement. What way the settlement is done? What do you mean by settlement? As the transaction has been done, now they have to do the payments. That is itself is known as the settlement. Placing the order has been done, contract note has been made, but now finalization of payment has to be done. So this means actual transfer of securities. This is the last stage in the trading of securities, done by the broker on behalf of their client. There can be two types of settlement: on the spot settlement, forward settlement. When we go with the on the spot settlement, it means settlement is done immediately, and on spot settlement follows T+2 ruling settlements. This means any trade taking place on Monday gets settled by Wednesday itself. Forward settlement, when we go, it means settlement will take place on some future date. Forward, the name itself clearing, future date the payment will be done. It can be T+5, means trading day plus 5 day, trading day plus 7 day, etc. All trading in stock exchange takes place between 9:55 am and 3:30 pm. Okay, Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday it is closings. So there are two settlements, on the spot, forward. On the spot means there itself, it means settlement is done immediately. On spot settlement follows. T plus 2 days, trading plus 2 days, rolling settlement. This means any trade taking place on Monday gets settled by Wednesday. That is the on the spot settlement. So these are the process, student, functions of stock exchange. So I think it is clear. Process of stock exchange is also clear to this class. So that we have learned process of stock exchange. There are 5 process of stock exchange. Trading process, first of all the company must get listed in the stock exchange market, then they have to select the registered brokers, then they have to get the opening demat account with the depositories, then they have to do the placement of orders. Who will be doing? The investor will be doing placement of orders to the depository participant. Finally the depository participant will be making a contract note, that is the broker will be making the contract note, that is known as executing the order process, and the last final settlements of the process. So these were the step of trading procedure on stock exchange. Now finally constitution of depository system will be the next topic, as a page is missing, so we will be going to take in the next class. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.